And the problem with us a lot of times is that we get weary in our warfare. That we get tired of fighting the good fight of faith. You feel that I did it for a few years, I'm going to let that, leave that to somebody else, I'm going to pass the baton on. But the truth is that God still wants something out of you. As God's people, I want you to understand the reason why I'm here today is because God used somebody else. Some of us we get so hyper spiritual that we want God to do all this stuff for us. But do understand that God used ordinary people to accomplish His extraordinary goals. Our job as the army of God is to go out there and get them souls.
Hey, what's up? This is me up in here at the RCC doing it like this. Yeah.
Either you doing it for God or you doing it for the enemy. My goal here is to completely allow you to recognize that we are in a constant spiritual battle. I don't fight against you, I don't fight against you, I don't fight against you. This fight is against Satan, and the truth is, it's already won. Alarming statistic. They said that they're building prisons right now. They're judging on how many prisons they're going to need in the next 20 years by the number of children that cannot read. We're marching to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ and the sacrifice that he stepped out of heaven. And he stepped out of glory to come here and to die for us. It ain't the scriptures. You got to show love to people. That's how you win souls. That's what people are missing. That's what the world does not have. That's the difference between us and the world. We're willing to show love and patience with people.
See, I was going to start this tutorial, but then my wife decided to throw something in the microwave, so now I have to wait a little bit until she gets done microwaving the food. So class, bear with my wife.
However, I asked him, was he recording? And he said, no, take your time.
How you doing, class? I decided to do something a little bit more informal in that I'm doing this video presentation for you all instead of me standing up here speaking, which I'm pretty much standing up here speaking anyway. But as you can see, I did my, what is it called? The Organizational Lifestyle Diagnosis of Refuge Christian Center. Refuge Christian Center is a tax-exempt organization. Under the IRS is classified as a church, so they don't have to file any I-90 forms or the forms that other nonprofits have to file. And essentially, I chose this organization because I myself, I'm an elder at my church. I'm part of our executive team, as well as kind of taking on a volunteer role as administrative director. So this project was, for the past few papers, have been very interesting because I've done all of the past few papers on my church, Refuge Christian Center. So kind of real brief, I have my whole paper right here on my laptop, so I'm just going to be going from that. And essentially, Refuge Christian Center was founded 10 years ago by Pastor Marcus F. Cage, the individual that you've seen in the video earlier. And I've been a member for about 3 years, and I've been on our leadership team for about 2.5 years. The lady in her book, she cites 7 stages of nonprofit cycles, that being idea, startup, growth, maturity, decline, turnaround, and the terminal stage. And not many nonprofits want to get to the terminal stage. To overall diagnose the program, besides doing the whole overview, she said also to diagnose the organization's programs, management, governance, resources, and systems. For Refuge Christian Center, for their programs, I diagnosed it they're coming to the end of the startup stage. They're not quite at the growth stage with the programs, and I'll explain more a little bit later. In the management section, Refuge Christian Center is at a startup stage. In the governance section, which is really great, I believe the governance part of Refuge is at the growth stage. For resources, I have that they're at the end of the startup stage, and the systems, they are entering the startup stage. And let me tell you why. Overall, I rated Refuge Christian Center as entering its growth stage because for the past probably couple years, our church attendance have really grown. We were in a building about 2.5 years ago that only seated roughly probably 75 people at the most, and now our average Sunday attendance are anywhere from about 100 to 120 people with about 200 members on a roster. In the growth stage, organizations develop a formal budget, and that's the process that we're working on because for a church it's kind of different. We receive tithes offering as individual donations, and really it comes from the members. And churches that are typically planted in wealthier areas have typically more budgets, obviously, of course. But right now we're at a stage where we really need to develop a budget to find out how much money and resources go to different programs, administrative costs, and things like that. And that's part of one of my duties. So within the next couple of years, that is what we intend to do. Stevens in her book states that during the growth stage, job positions and responsibilities are formalized. And when job positions are formalized, if you have volunteer staff that have been with the organization for quite a while, they get a little bit shaky because their position is in jeopardy sometimes because they may not be the most qualified person for the job. So as an organization grows and more resources come in at the growth stage, then more qualifiable positions or qualified people need to be put into positions to effectively run programs. Can I get an amen on that?
Con los terroristas.
The Harlem Shake.
For the programs at Refuge, I diagnosed them at the startup stage. Now, Stevens in her book states that at the growth stage, organizations typically utilize a strategic plan, define their competitive advantage, and become more model-driven. See, Refuge is not quite at the growth stage yet because we are currently working on a strategic plan that has been in the works for quite a while sometime. But it's something that really needs to happen effectively, as looking at doing marketing campaigns, looking at how to build different programs, how to add more members, how to add more resources, etc. It's important to note that many churches call their programs ministries, and that's real ministries. And ministries are essentially specialized services offered by the church. At Refuge Christian Center and our new members pack, there are several ministries and programs that we offer, including a youth ministry, a men's ministry, women's ministry. There is a marriage ministry and quite a few other ones. But one of the issues and problems is that none of the programs or ministries have consistent follow through, and that's partially because I think I hear a train going by outside and I don't want it to interrupt the video, so please bear with me for just one quick second, okay? Train's still going. So one of the issues with the programs at the Refuge is that they lack consistency, and that's because having individuals over programs to effectively operate programs, manage volunteer resources has been a challenge. In a lot of churches, most churches are run, or not most churches, but smaller churches are typically run by volunteer staff who may not have the best skills for the job. So with the programs area, Refuge is definitely hitting the last phases of the startup stage as we look at rolling out a strategic plan within the next year or so. Management at Refuge will be diagnosed in the startup stage, and during the startup stage most organizations use volunteers to manage its programs, and the leaders are typically the organization's most experienced people. And one of the strengths of the management at Refuge Christian Center is its founding pastor Marcus Cage, because he provides solid leadership. I was looking at the governance structure, which I'm going to talk about, but it's amazing how for this man who really had no business training, the governance structure at Refuge Christian Center is clearly set in place. But with one of the issues with management at Refuge is that there are quite a few people on our leadership team who are leaders but not managers, and there's a difference between the two. And one of the other programs that Refuge Christian Center has is a leadership training program for any individual interested in leading a program at the church. However, one of the fundamental things that is lacking in the leadership training program is teaching about management principles. A lot of the training within the leadership training at Refuge Christian Center is about about Bible history, Christian history, how to deal with conflicts and problems and honor, but not about how to effectively organize a program or how to effectively recruit volunteer staff and train volunteer staff and things of that nature. So I think one of my recommendations would be to include more management training, specifically within the leadership training at the Refuge. The governance stage. The governance stage is definitely at a growth stage as members of the executive team have moved beyond personal relationships. And right now the executive team consists of Pastor Cage, his wife, Elder Trini Steele, myself, and my beautiful wife Cicely, who is in the bedroom chilling, watching a movie or doing something or another. And all but one of the members of the executive team has earned an undergrad degree, which is pretty good. So everybody has essentially a strong educational background, a strong leadership background. And we're looking at, the leadership team is looking at in this next year of rolling out a strategic planning process. And according to Bryce in 2010, there is a 10-step to a 10-step strategic planning process. So stage 1, initiate and agree on the strategic plan. Step number 2 is to identify the organizational mandate. Step number 3, clarify mission and values. And then step number 4, you create the SWOT analysis on internal and external factors. Step number 6, you formulate the strategies to manage the issue. Step number 7, you review and adapt strategic plans. Step number 8, you establish the effective vision. Step number 9, develop an effective implementation process. Step number 10, you reassess strategies and processes. Can I get an amen on that? Now y'all gotta forgive me because I didn't eat before I did this, so I grabbed, what up Culver's, this is a piece of a Culver's burger I've been snacking on, so I gotta have me a little snack.
Con los terroristas.
The Harlem Shake.
Con los terroristas. Ey.
Stephen states that organization resources are at a growth stage when the income has diversified, more focus is placed on balance and asset sheets, and useful financial information to stakeholders is available in a timely fashion. With that being said, I will rate Refuge Christian Center and diagnose them at the startup stage because we do not have any balance sheets. And I pause to say that because as an administrator, I'm kind of ashamed to say that. But we really need to develop our resources a little bit more to be able to look at budget and look at income and see where, like on what Sundays or what particular times of the year we have more revenue coming in, so that we can plan for times where we don't. So we have a few major giving campaigns that we run during the year. One of them is our Wise Man Sunday, which is for Christmas, where individuals are encouraged to bring their financial monetary gifts in a box and present it to the Lord, our Savior, Jesus Christ, at the altar as a way of sowing a seed. We have our church anniversary once a year. This past year our goal was $40,000 and we made $31,000, which is a pretty good impact. And another giving time that we have is our Impact Sunday, which is right around the springtime, where really we try to financially insulate our ministry for the summertime. And the whole idea of Impact Sunday is to be able to have an impact during the summer months when church attendance is down. So with the resources, systems, I diagnosed Refuge Christian Center in the startup stage with their systems. The administrative systems are beyond the stage where donations, reimbursements, and income can be tracked. And Refuge right now utilizes a basic accounting software system. However, communication, administrative, and financial systems need to be more professionalized and updated before entering the growth stage. With the financial systems that we do have, I cannot easily go on and pull a report to find out how much income was brought in, on specific Sundays, or specifically where money is being dispensed to. So it will be a good idea to be able to track in detail, like how much money we bring in, how much is spent on administrative budget, how much is spent for marriage ministry, how much is spent on toilet paper and things of that nature, so that we can get an idea of where the money is going and how we can better utilize some of those resources. With our communication systems, we do have a web page, a social media, Facebook and Twitter account. However, it would be advantage if Refuge had a social media person to consistently provide updates on those accounts, to be able to get more communication out into the community about the different programs that are offered. Administrative systems, administrative and technological systems need a lot of upgrade, and we do have a few computers. However, quite a few people have access to the passwords and are able to log on, and this can create a problem when somebody may go onto a website that they should not be on, or if somebody crashes a computer or anything like that. More security needs to be in place for the technical systems at the Refuge. The organization has done very well.
Con los terroristas.
And do the Harlem Shake.